and welcome to the House of Dice. Today I was joined by Curtis, and we played a 50-point game on the Spread the Net scenario. Curtis, who did you bring today?
I brought the Iron Mother from the Convergence of Cyriss using the Destructive Initiative.
And I brought Vindictus from Menoth in the exemplar interdiction theme. So let's take a look at the table, and then we'll take a look at the lists.
Today's battle report is using the Steamroller 2017 scenario, Spread the Net. There are 2 rectangular zones which can be scored by Warjacks and Warbeasts. 1 circular zone in the middle which can be scored by Warcasters, Warlocks, and Warrior units. And there are 2 flags that can be scored if a Warcaster, Warlock, or Solo is base to base with it. For the terrain, we have 3 buildings that are obstructions giving cover, 4 walls that are obstacles granting cover, a bush that is an obstacle giving concealment, and a hill. Protectorate of Menoth is led by Vice Scrutator Vindictus. In his battle group is a Reckoner and a Vanquisher. Joining him is a full unit of exemplar Cinerators, a full unit of exemplar Errants, and a unit of Knights Exemplar with a command attachment. The list is in the exemplar interdiction theme. Convergence of Cyriss is led by Iron Mother Directrix and her exponent servitors. In her battle group is a Prime Axiom, 2 Assimilators, and a Corollary. They are joined by 3 sets of Reflex Servitors. The list is in the Destruction Initiative theme. Convergence won the roll-off and decides to go first. Menoth chose to deploy on the left side of the table, leaving Convergence to deploy on the right. Convergence deploys with the Iron Mother in the middle, her Corollary beside her, and flanking them is the 2 Assimilators. The Prime Axiom is off to her right. Menoth deploys with Vindictus in the middle of the table. The Cinerators, Reckoner, and Vassal are off to his left. On his right is the Vanquisher and Knights Exemplar. Convergence advance deploys the Reflex Servitors across the front line. Menoth advance deploys the Exemplar Errants on the left side near the flag. Convergence of Cyriss, turn 1. Iron Mother does not allocate any focus to her Warjacks. The Corollary activates first and gains a focus from Accumulator, then spends the focus to run up behind the wall. It inducts the focus to Assimilator 2. The Assimilator activates next and spends its focus to run up behind the building. It inducts the focus to Assimilator 1. Assimilator 1 activates next and spends its focus to run up into the zone. It inducts a focus to the Prime Axiom. The Servitors begin to activate. They each advance up and use their ability Dig In to gain cover and become immune to blast damage. Iron Mother activates next. The Warcaster's Field Marshal ability gives all of her Warjacks an Arc Node. She spends 2 focus to arc her spell Tactical Supremacy through the Corollary onto Assimilator 1. This gives the Warjack Reposition 3. She then advances up near her Warjacks. The Servitors move up with her. The Prime Axiom activates and launches an Attunement Servitor. It then spends a focus to run up to the zone, inducting a focus to the Corollary's Focus Battery. The Focus Battery allows the Corollary to hold onto its focus during the maintenance phase. Protectorate of Menoth, turn 1. All the Warjacks gain a focus from power up, and Vindictus does not give out any of his focus. Vindictus goes first and spends 3 focus to cast True Path. True Path gives Pathfinder and a movement bonus to friendly faction warrior models in his control area. The Warcaster then spends another 3 focus to cast Defender's Ward on the Exemplar Errants, giving them a defense and armor buff. He then advances up behind the bushes, gaining concealment. Vindictus then uses his feat, Divine Protection. While in his control area, friendly faction warrior models cannot be targeted by charges, slams, power attacks, enemy spells, and non-magical ranged attacks. The Exemplar Errants advance towards the zone, staying out of melee range of the enemy Warjacks. The Errants level their crossbows at the Servitors. They need a 10 to hit. The first Errant rolls at 8 and the bolt misses the Servitor. The second Errant rolls an 8 and misses his mark. The third shoots, but rolls a 4 and the attack misses. The fourth shoots, rolling a 9, and the attack just misses the servitor. The next errant shoots at a servitor, but rolls a 2 and completely misses his target. The next errant shoots a bolt at another servitor in range, but rolls a 6 and the attack misses. Another errant shoots, but rolls a 4 and misses. Leveling his crossbow, the next errant rolls a 6 and misses. The exemplar shoots, but rolls a 5 and misses the servitor. The last exemplar fires his blessed crossbow, but rolls a 7 and also misses. The Knight's Exemplar activate next and run up the right flank. The Exemplar Seneschal runs up with the Knights. The Vanquisher activates next and spends a focus to run up into the zone, but takes a few steps back just to tow into it. The Reckoner spends a focus to run up towards the flag. The Vassal of Menoth runs up and goes base to base with the Reckoner, gaining Iron Sentinel. This gives him a defense and armor bonus and he cannot be knocked down. The Cinerators run up the middle of the board and get behind the Errants. Convergence of Cyriss, turn 2. Iron Mother allocates 1 focus to the Prime Axiom. She then pays 1 focus to upkeep Tactical Supremacy on the Assimilator 1. The Corollary has 2 focus on its focus battery. The Corollary inches over into range of the Prime Axiom and uses its ability Power Transfer to give it 2 focus. The Prime Axiom activates and advances up. It targets the Reckoner with one of its tow cables. It needs a 5 to hit. It spends a focus to boost the attack, inducting a focus to Assimilator 1. Rolling a 9, the tow cable shoots into the Reckoner, automatically doing 1 point of damage to column 3 due to puncture. The Prime Axiom drags the Warjack into the backs of the Exemplar Errants. The Colossal fires its second tow cable into the Warjack. Rolling an 11, the tow cable pierces the Warjack and does 1 point of damage to column 5. The Prime Axiom targets the Reckoner with its Excellispiker. Rolling a 9, the spike hits the Warjack. The Colossal boosts the damage at dice -8 and inducts the focus to Assimilator 1. Rolling a 12, the spike lodges itself into the Warjack and does 4 points of damage to column 6 of the Reckoner. Firing its Excellispiker again, it shoots at the Reckoner. Rolling a 2, the spike goes off target and misses the Warjack. It fires another shot at the Reckoner with its Excellispiker. Rolling a 5, the spike finds its mark. The Prime Axiom spends its last focus to boost the attack, inducting to Assimilator 1. It rolls a 16 for damage and does 8 damage to column 1 of the Reckoner. The Axiom fires another spike from its Excellispiker at the Menite Warjack, but rolls a 3 and the attack misses. The Colossal fires its last spike. Rolling a 9, the spike hits the Reckoner, and rolling for damage, it rolls a 6. The spike bounces off the armor of the Warjack, doing no damage. A Reflex Servitor activates and advances towards the Knight's Exemplar. It needs a 7 to hit, and rolling a 7, the Servitor hits the Knight and explodes, doing damage at dice -1. It rolls a 6 and kills the Exemplar. The Knight beside him is also caught in the blast and takes damage at dice -7. Rolling an 8, the Knight is incinerated in the blast. The attack triggers Battle Driven on the Knight's Exemplar, giving them a Strength and Armor bonus as well as Pathfinder. It also triggers Righteous Fury on the Exemplar Seneschal, giving him a Strength and Armor bonus. The next Servitor advances up to another group of Knights. It attacks the Exemplar, needing a 7. Rolling an 8, the Servitor hits the Exemplar and explodes. Damage is dice -3. It rolls a 7 and kills the Knight. The Knight beside him takes damage at dice -10. Against the first Knight, it rolls a 7, doing no damage to the Menite. The explosion catches one more Knight, and at dice -10, it rolls for damage, but rolls a 5 and the Knight survives the explosion. Iron Mother activates next. Her exponent servitors move ahead of her. She arcs her spell Backlash through the Prime Axiom for 3 focus, onto the Reckoner. Backlash causes a Warjack's controller to take 1 damage each time the affected Warjack is damaged. It hits on anything but double 1s. Rolling an 8, the attack hits and the Warjack is affected by the spell. She then casts her spell Shrapnel Storm through the Axiom for 3 focus onto the Reckoner. hitting on anything but double ones. Iron Mother rolls a 3 and the attack hits the Warjack. The damage is dice minus 6, but she rolls a 4 and does no damage. All models within a 4-inch AoE take 1 point of damage from the spell, killing 3 knights and doing 1 point of damage to the Vassal of Menoth. Assimilator 1 advances up towards the Menite front lines. It uses its special attack Ground Pounder to place a 4-inch AoE. The AoE catches 2 Errants, the exemplar Seneschal, and 2 Cinerators. Against the first Errant, it needs a 9 to hit due to Defender's Ward, but rolls a 3 and the attack misses. Rolling against the second Errant, it rolls a 10 and the attack hits the exemplar. Doing damage at dice minus 5, it rolls an 8, killing the Menite. Against the exemplar Seneschal, it needs a 7 to hit. It boosts the attack, inducting a focus to Assimilator 2. It rolls a 7 and the attack just makes it, doing damage at dice minus 3 because of Righteous Fury. It boosts the attack, inducting to Assimilator 2, and rolls a 4, doing 1 point of damage to the Seneschal. Hitting the Cinerator, it needs a 6, but rolls a 5 and the attack misses. Hitting the last Cinerator, it boosts to hit, inducting a focus to Assimilator 2. It rolls a 6 and the attack hits. The damage on the Cinerator is dice minus 4. It rolls a 5, doing 1 damage to the exemplar, which triggers Vengeance, allowing the unit to advance 3 inches and make 1 basic melee attack during the maintenance phase. The Assimilator then advances back due to reposition. Assimilator 2 advances up and uses Ground Pound, catching the exemplar Seneschal, a Knight, and the Cinerator. To hit the Seneschal, it needs a 7, and it boosts the attack, inducting a focus to the Corollary's battery. It rolls a 12 and the attack hits. Boosting damage at dice minus 4, it inducts a focus to the Corollary's battery once again. Rolling an 11, it does 7 damage to the Seneschal. This triggers Inhuman Resolve, knocking the Seneschal down, and he isn't killed until the next maintenance phase. To hit the Cinerator caught in the attack, it needs a 6. Rolling a 9, the attack hits, and does damage at dice minus 4. Rolling an 8, it does 4 damage, doing just enough to kill the Cinerator. The Assimilator boosts the attack against the Knight, inducting a focus to the Corollary. Rolling a 13, the attack hits. Doing damage at dice minus 4, it rolls an 8 and kills the exemplar. All the servitors move up and use their ability Dig In. Protectorate of Menoth, Turn 2. The exemplar Seneschal is killed during the maintenance phase due to Inhuman Resolve, and the exemplar Cinerators get to move up due to Vengeance. All the Warjacks gain a focus from power up. Vindictus drops Defender's Ward from the Errants and does not give out any focus. Vindictus activates first. He casts Defender's Ward on himself for 3 focus, and then spends another 3 focus to cast True Path. He then advances up behind the building, going to the edge of the zone. The Reckoner advances forward and sets its sights on a servitor beside the building. Needing an 11 to hit, it boosts the attack, but rolls a 9 and the attack misses. Rolling for deviation, it goes 2 inches in the 4 direction and catches the servitor in the blast. Damage is dice minus 6. Rolling a 7, the servitor explodes. The Knight's Exemplar are given a press forward order. The first Knight runs up past the flag. The servitor sees its target and does a countercharge into the Knight's back arc. It needs a 5 to hit. Rolling a 12, the attack hits the Knight and does damage at dice minus 3 due to battle driven. Rolling a 5, the explosion kills the Knight. The rest of the Knights move up, with one of them engaging a servitor. The Vassal of Menoth activates and uses Empower onto the Reckoner to give it another focus. The Reckoner advances up to the wall and shoots its Condemner Cannon at Assimilator 2. It boosts the attack, needing a 6 to hit. Rolling a 7, the attack hits, but one of the servitors uses Shield Guard and is destroyed by the attack. The exemplar Errants receive a press forward order. One Errant charges a servitor, while 2 others charge at Assimilator 2. The rest run to engage the servitors. The Errant charging the Servitor needs a 5 to hit, but rolls double 1s and fails the charge. The first Errant charging the Assimilator needs a 4 to hit. Rolling a 4, the Knight slashes at the Warjack with his sword, doing damage at dice -9. Rolling a 17, he does 8 damage to column 4 of the Assimilator. The second Errant rolls a 9, and he smashes his weapon into the Assimilator. Rolling for damage, he rolls a 19, doing 10 damage to column 1 of the Heavy Warjack. The Cinerators activate, and with a war cry, they charge at the Assimilator. One runs behind the building to protect Vindictus. The first Cinerator needs a 4 to hit. Rolling a 6, the blazing sword crashes into the armor of the Warjack, doing damage at dice -6. Rolling a 17, the attack does 11 damage to column 5, destroying the Warjack. Menoth scores 3 control points. Convergence of Cyriss, turn 3. Iron Mother upkeeps Backlash on the Reckoner. She then places a new Servitor. The Corollary has 3 focus on its battery. A Servitor activates and moves into place to catch as many Errants as possible in its blast. It then attacks the Errant needing a 7 to hit, but it rolls a 5 and misses the Exemplar. It explodes, catching the Errant in the blast at dice -8. Rolling an 8, it does no damage to him. Another Errant is caught in the blast, but rolling a 7, he survives the attack. The Errant engaging the Assimilator is also caught in the blast, but rolling an 8, he is unfazed by the explosion. Against the Cinerator caught in the blast, it rolls at dice -9. Rolling a 4, the Cinerator's armor protects him. Iron Mother activates, and she uses her feat Mathematical Perfection, changing the base mat and rat of all her Warjacks to her focus stat of 8. She then spends 3 focus and casts Shrapnel Swarm on a Cinerator needing a 3 to hit. She rolls a 4 and the spell hits the Exemplar, doing damage at dice -4. She rolls a 9, doing just enough damage to kill the Cinerator. The Errants around the Exemplar are all killed. The Cinerator behind him also takes 1 damage. The Exponent Servitor shoots at a Cinerator, hitting on anything but double 1s. Rolling a 9, the attack hits the Exemplar, giving him Imperil. Imperil gives +2 to all damage rolls. The second Servitor shoots at an Errant needing a 4 to hit. Rolling a 7, the attack hits, and the Exemplar is affected by Imperil. Iron Mother forfeits her movement to aim, then fires her Aperture Blast at the Errant beside the Prime Axiom. Due to her target being in melee, she needs a 9 to hit. Rolling a 10, the blast shoots towards the Errant, doing damage at dice -1. She rolls a 5 and kills the Menite. She uses her last 4 focus to cast Domination on the Reckoner Warjack through the Prime Axiom. She needs a 6 to hit. She rolls a 6 and she just makes it. She takes control of the Reckoner. The Reckoner advances away, turns, and shoots at the Vassal of Menoth with its Condemner Cannon. It needs a 7 to hit. Rolling a 7, the attack hits the Vassal, doing damage at dice +2. Rolling a 9, it does 11 damage and kills the Vassal of Menoth. The Corollary activates and charges at a Cinerator, inducting a focus to the Prime Axiom. It needs a 3 to hit due to Iron Mother's feat. Rolling a 7, the Corollary smashes into the Exemplar. Doing damage at dice -9, it rolls a 12 and does 3 damage to the Cinerator, leaving him at 1 health. It buys an attack, inducting to the Prime Axiom. Rolling an 8, it smashes once again into the Menite. It boosts the damage, inducting to the Prime Axiom, but rolls a 6 and doesn't break the armor of the Cinerator. The Prime Axiom advances up and fires its Accela Spiker into the back arc of the Reckoner, hitting on anything but double 1s. Rolling a 6, the attack hits, doing damage at dice -6, but rolls a 5 and the spike bounces off the armor plating of the Warjack. It readies another spike and fires again. Rolling a 7, the attack hits. Rolling a 2 for damage, the spike doesn't even leave a scratch on the Warjack. It continues its barrage and fires another shot. Rolling a 7, the attack hits, but rolls a 6 for damage and the spike doesn't pierce the armor. The Prime Axiom changes targets and fires into the back arc of a Cinerator, hitting on anything but double 1s. It rolls a 4 and the spike hits the Cinerator, doing damage at dice -4. Rolling a 5, the spike breaks through the thick armor plates and does 1 point of damage, killing the Cinerator. Firing its last spike at the Errant, it rolls an 11, hitting its target. Due to Imperil, it does damage at dice -3. Rolling an 11, the spike passes through the armor of the Menite and kills him. The Prime Axiom shoots a tow cable into the Vanquisher, hitting on anything but double ones. Rolling an 8, the tow cable shoots into the Vanquisher, doing 1 point of damage to column 6. It pulls the Warjack out of the zone, but is stopped when it runs into the back of the Cinerator. The Prime Axiom fires its second tow cable into the Reckoner, hitting on anything but double ones. It rolls a 9, and the tow cable pierces into the back armor of the Warjack and drags it in. The tow cable does 1 point of damage to column 6. Vindictus takes 1 point of damage due to backlash. The Prime Axiom gets a free attack into the back arc of the Reckoner, hitting on anything but double ones. Rolling a 7, its drill vice slams down on the Warjack, doing damage at dice +2. Rolling a 12, it drills through the armor and does 14 points of damage, seizing up the movement system of the Warjack. Vindictus takes 1 damage from backlash. The Prime Axiom spends a focus and attacks with its drill vice once again. It has sustained attack, causing the attack to automatically hit the Reckoner again. Rolling for damage, it rolls a 7, doing 9 damage. Pieces of the Warjack fly in all directions as it is destroyed by the attack. The Prime Axiom spends its last focus and attacks a Cinerator with its drill vice, inducting a focus to the Assimilator. It needs a 3 to hit and rolls a 9. The vice smashes into the Exemplar, doing damage at dice +2. Rolling an 8, the Cinerator is obliterated by the attack. The Attunement Servitor advances around the Errant to get into his back arc. It shoots its Lumicam Ampule at the Errant, needing a 10 to hit due to him being in melee with the other servitors. It rolls a 10 and the Exemplar is flared, giving +2 to attack rolls. The Reflex Servitor advances towards the Errant. It attacks the Menite, needing a 5 to hit. Rolling a 9, the explosion hits the Errant, doing damage at dice -3. Rolling a 3, the Errant survives. The explosion hits another servitor, doing damage at dice -8. And rolling an 11, the servitor is destroyed. Another servitor moves in to try and kill the Exemplar, needing a 5 to hit. Rolling a 6, it explodes and catches the Menite in the blast, doing damage at dice -3. It rolls an 11 and kills the Errant. The Assimilator activates, advances up, and uses its special attack, Ground Pound. It catches Vindictus, a Cinerator, and the Vanquisher in the attack. Against Vindictus, it boosts the attack, inducting a focus to the Corollary. It needs a 9 to hit due to Defender's Ward. It rolls a 15 and the attack hits the Warcaster. It boosts the attack at dice -5, inducting a focus to the Corollary. Rolling an 8, it does 3 damage to Vindictus. Attacking the Cinerator, it hits on anything but double ones. Rolling a 7, the attack hits and it boosts the damage, inducting a focus to the Corollary. The damage is dice -4. It rolls an 11 and does 7 damage, killing off the last Cinerator. Convergence scores 1 control point. Protectorate of Menoth, turn 3. The Vanquisher gains a focus from power up. Vindictus upkeeps Defender's Ward. The Vanquisher activates and runs as far back as it can into the zone. Vindictus activates and spends 3 focus to cast True Path. The Warcaster then advances base to base with the flag. The remaining Knights Exemplar activate. The officer uses her mini-feat, Divine Retribution, giving an additional die on attack and damage rolls, then dropping the lowest. They are then issued a press forward order. The officer charges the servitor, and the knight charges Iron Mother Directrix. The servitor does not do a free strike against the Exemplar. The officer charging the servitor needs a 5 to hit. Rolling a 10, she smashes her Relic Blade into the servitor, doing damage at dice -2. She rolls a 13 and destroys it. The knight charging Iron Mother needs an 8 to hit, and rolling a 10, his Relic Blade swings into the side of the Warcaster, doing damage at dice -6. Rolling an 18, the sword bites into the side of Iron Mother and does 12 damage to the Warcaster. Menoth scores 2 control points, and Convergence scores 1. Convergence of Cyriss, turn 4. Iron Mother does not allocate any focus. The Corollary has 3 focus on its battery. A Servitor runs up and goes base to base with the flag. Iron Mother activates and issues a press forward order for her exponent Servitors. One Servitor runs to contest the flag, and another charges the Exemplar officer. The Servitor needs a 7 to hit, but rolls a 6 and the attack misses. Iron Mother attacks the Knight Exemplar with her Cloak of Blades. She needs a 7 to hit and boosts the attack. Rolling a 16, the cloak flares out and slashes at the Knight, doing damage at dice -4. She spends a focus to boost the damage. She rolls a 7 and kills the Knight Exemplar, triggering Battle Driven for the officer. The Corollary activates, advances up, and tows the zone. It then uses its ability Power Transfer to give the Prime Axiom its 3 focus. The Prime Axiom activates and advances up to the building. It then shoots its tow cable at the Vanquisher, needing a 5 to hit. It boosts the attack, inducting a focus to the Assimilator. Rolling a 16, the tow cable shoots into the Warjack and does 1 point of damage to column 4. It then drags the Vanquisher into base-to-base contact. It gets a free strike with its drill vise from tow and needs a 5 or higher to hit. Rolling a 7, the attack hits. The Colossal slams its drill into the Vanquisher, doing damage at dice +3, and it boosts the damage. Rolling a 10, it does 13 damage to column 3. The Prime Axiom then targets Vindictus with his Excellispiker. Due to Defender's Ward, it needs a 12 to hit. The first spike fires out, but it rolls a 6 and the attack misses. The next spike shoots towards the Warcaster, but rolls a 9 and the shot misses. Another spike is loaded into the Excellispiker and fires towards Vindictus, but rolls a 7 and it goes wide. The barrage continues, but it rolls a 5 and the spike hits the ground beside the Warcaster. The last spike fires from the Excellispiker, and rolling a 9, the attack misses. Prime Axiom then shoots its second tow cable at the Vanquisher, needing a 5 to hit. It rolls a 7, and the cable rips into the armor of the Vanquisher, doing 1 point of damage to column 1. The Colossal then uses its free attack with its drill vise to strike the Vanquisher. It rolls a 10, and the drill smashes down on the Warjack, and rolling for damage, it rolls an 11, doing 14 damage to column 6. The Prime Axiom spends a focus to buy another attack, inducting a focus to the Assimilator. Due to sustained attack, it automatically hits. Rolling for damage, the Prime Axiom rolls an 8, doing 11 damage, and destroys the Warjack in a rain of metal sparks. The Assimilator forfeits its movement to aim. It shoots its Deserving Microswarm at Vindictus, needing a 10 to hit. It boosts the attack, inducting a focus to the Corollary. It rolls a 12, and the attack hits the Warcaster. Doing damage at dice -5, it spends a focus to boost the damage, inducting another focus to the Corollary. It rolls a 9, doing 4 damage, but Vindictus spends a focus to overboost his shields and takes no damage. Convergence scores 2 control points. Protector of Menoth, turn 4. Vindictus drops Defender's Ward. Vindictus charges the Servitor, engaging the Exemplar officer. He needs a 6 to hit with Lawgiver. Rolling a 6, he swings his blade into the Servitor, doing damage at dice -1. Rolling a 6, he smashes the Servitor into pieces. The Warcaster then spends 2 focus to cast Immolation on Iron Mother. He needs a 9 to hit and boost the attack. Rolling a 10, the flames surround Iron Mother, doing damage at dice -5. Vindictus spends a focus to boost the damage. Rolling a 9, he does 4 damage, but Iron Mother spends a focus to overboost her shield and takes no damage. Vindictus spends 2 focus and casts Immolation again. Rolling a 10, Iron Mother is once again hit by the flames. Rolling an 8, he does 3 damage to the Warcaster, but she overboosts her shield and takes no damage. The Knight Exemplar officer charges the enemy Warcaster. She swings her Relic Blade, needing an 8 to hit, but she rolls a 6 and Iron Mother dodges the attack. Convergence scores 2 control points. Convergence of Cyriss, turn 5. The Corollary has 2 focus on its focus battery. The Corollary activates first and uses Power Transfer to give 2 focus to the Prime Axiom. The Prime Axiom activates and forfeits its movement to aim. It targets Vindictus with its Excellispiker. It needs a 10 to hit, and it spends a focus to boost the attack, inducting a focus to the Assimilator. Rolling an 11, the spike hits the Warcaster, doing damage at dice -5. It rolls a 10, doing 5 damage to Vindictus. It loads in another spike and fires at the Warcaster. It boosts the attack once again, inducting to the Assimilator. Rolling an 11, the attack hits. It rolls for damage, and rolling an 11, the attack does 6 damage and kills the Warcaster.
And that leads to a Convergence victory. Curtis, when you were building your list, what was the main idea behind it?
Well, the main idea was to use a lot of shooting and a lot of spells to get rid of all of your infantry.
Yeah.
And I kind of ran into a problem.
My feet definitely stopped that on turn 2.
Yep.
Definitely put a big roadblock there. The main idea behind my list, lots of infantry, jam them up and keep them out of the zones and keep on scoring. I really wanted to just try tying up as many zones on his side of the table as I could when I kept both my Warjacks back, towing both zones that I need, like the Warjack zone and then the Vassal on the flag.
Yeah.
That is, I brought only shooting Warjacks so I can hold them back and just let you deal with my infantry. So yeah.
Yeah, it worked really well, and I think one of the reasons I won that one was mostly some of those dice rolls I just hit.
Yeah, there was a lot of absolute, just nailed it when you needed it.
Yeah, on the important rolls.
Yeah. And so, yeah, it was actually really close. There was leading up into, turn 3? Ending of turn 2?
Yeah.
I definitely was like, oh, I got this. Like, we both agreed that I pretty much had it in the bag.
Yeah.
And then it's just those perfect shots that he needed to land, absolutely nailed it and got rid of key, parts of mine. Like, if I hadn't have lost the Seneschal,
yeah,
he could have been scoring points. You had the exact number you needed to hit the domination on the Reckoner,
yeah,
which then killed the Vassal, which unfortunately made it so I couldn't score that turn. And if that hadn't have happened, that one roll you needed, I would have won.
It would have been a very different game.
Yes, and I had a lot of fun with it. It was kind of right down to the wire. Unfortunately, once that plan started to fall apart, my attrition game, I was already, all my guys were wiped out. I had nothing to do any damage at all to your Colossal, the Prime Axiom. So I was pretty much on the back foot at that point and hoping to get the assassination, and I kind of got a little close.
You were close. It came down right to the numbers. Like, if you would have hit that last roll with your exemplar, you probably would have had enough.
Yeah. Now on the other side there, popping the mini feat, I think I did get a really high roll on that mini feat.
Yeah.
So I got a little lucky there, but things average out. I didn't do so well on the next attack.
Yeah.
You were down to 6 health there, I believe?
I had 6 left.
Yeah. And so just enough poke from any of the immolations, if one of those had gotten through, and then doing 5 damage, or 10 on a, what was it, dice minus, I think it was dice minus 6.
For immolation it was 6.
Yeah, dice minus 6 on the immolation, dice minus 4 on the exemplar.
Yeah.
I only needed to do 9 damage on that exemplar.
Yeah.
If that had gone through, would have been a different game. But in the end, that was awesome. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Going into, if we were to play this same scenario again, what would you do differently?
If we're doing the exact same game, I wouldn't have brought so many guns.
Do a list that stops them.
Or I would have brought my mechanics, which was a last-minute decision that right before we played, I took the mechanics out for a second assimilator.
Yeah.
And they can give magic weapons, so I could have just made your feet useless.
Now, the assimilators did help with ground pound.
Yeah.
They cleared out a lot of work, your little servitor bots did a lot of work as well.
What was the total? The servitors got almost a whole unit?
Yeah, very close to it between what they took out, yeah.
Yeah.
It was scary. I didn't know what to do with that. But yeah, next game, personally, what I would have done, I would have been more mindful of the servitors. I was kind of like, they're fine.
They're free solos.
Yeah, they killed a lot. I was so scared. After they started killing things, I'm like, oh, damn, I did not position right. So I need to pay more attention to the servitors, guys that can clear a lot of infantry, especially in a list that brings a lot of infantry. It only makes sense to watch out for that kind of stuff. But outside of that, I think it was a very down-to-the-wire game. There was not much we could have done to really influence that.
No, it was, I think, every point of the way, I don't think you could have played it much differently.
Yeah, so I'm quite happy about that. I feel like it was an improvement in my game. This is one of the first lists that I 100% came up with myself. I'm assuming it's nothing original. Lots of people do this kind of stuff, but normally I have friends in the group kind of help build my list a little bit and I learned how to play it. This, I sat at home, worked through my list, and really said, okay, what is Vindictus good at? How do I use this? You know, what do I want to go for? Do I want to push scenario or assassination? I went for a scenario win. Fortunately, it didn't end up working in the end, but I got very close.
I was really worried. I was looking, I'm like, oh, well, I guess I'm going home now.
Yeah, so it was a very close loss there and win for you, and I think that's the most fun games. You know, steamrolling someone's never fun. But in the end, that was a victory for you, so congratulations, sir.
Thank you. And just quick.
Yes, of course.
We both found out right before we played, both of the casters we played were the casters that got us into the faction.
Yeah, I love the Vindictus sculpt. He just looks cool. I mean, he's kind of boring, just stands normal, but I like that he's in such a standstill, aggressive, come at me kind of pose. I love that.
Yeah.
And again, Iron Mother is a gorgeous sculpt. It's so cool.
She's what got me into the entire game, actually.
Yeah, so it's great to really play those models, and again, I feel like we both played them fairly well. So if you guys like what you see, be sure to like the video, share it, comment down below, and if you really want to try supporting the channel, check out our Patreon at patreon.com/houseofdice, and all the links for that will be down below. Thanks again for watching, and have a good one.